Now, if you come around these parts, you're probably a big fan of Sulfur. You could probably guess I am. I fell in love with it almost immediately and still look forward to playing it all the time whenever I can get the chance. But there's obviously people out there that don't love Sulfur. In fact, for some reason, you look at it and it says very positive for reviews. Now, if you're asking me how I feel about the game, it's overwhelmingly positive, and a lot of you probably feel the same way. Now, we try not to shill, right? You don't ever want to shill for anything other than, like, Keanu Reeves, right? I mean, he's great, but as far as, like, games go, it's hard to shill because at any given moment, they can mess everything up and ruin everything. Like Dead by Daylight is done like 20 times, right? This is totally possible to just, although nobody's ever shilled Dead by Daylight. Even the people that love Dead by Daylight, it's like almost their job to hate it at the same time. You know what I mean? I forgot to hide the preview. Oh no, there's the Discord. I think there was a bunch of drugs. Oops. I don't know what that was. What was that? Yeah, that was a bunch of weed. Is that even drug? I mean, it's drugs, but it's like not illegal. But today, and I'm taking way too long to get to this, I am so sorry. If you're new here, I've got the biggest scatterbrain on the planet. I go from here to there. A doesn't go to B, it goes to friggin' E or F, right? You know what I'm saying? And let's look at some people that said F you to Sulfur. I wanted to look at some negative reviews. I've been wanting to do this for a while because I want to get inside of the head of someone who is the opposite of me, the opposition, right? The people that actively dislike Sulfur. And I guess I can give a quick review about my review of Sulfur. Maybe I should do it at the beginning, and then as we go along, see if we can point out any differences. To give a review, I mean, it's hard to review a game without getting in-depth about everything, but to me, what I love about Sulfur and why I deem it so highly is because it's all original art. That's a big thing for me when it comes to indie games. Having just full original art, new assets, you're not borrowing them or buying them from anywhere. That is a big positive every time I play an indie game. I always look for that. If I'm looking for an indie game that I think I'm going to really enjoy, the first thing I look for is originality. And it oozes originality. Every piece of land, character, gun, it's all handmade and it's all beautiful. They did a great job. I don't think anyone can argue against the art style. I would find that very weird. To hate something because you don't understand or vibe with the art would be very strange. If we see anything like that, I'm going to just immediately, I don't know about dismiss it, but also like I'll never be able to get in that mindset. And then like just the fact that they tried something different. An extraction roguelite is not really a thing outside of Sulfur. It could end up being a thing as time goes on. Roguelites and extraction shooters are both very popular right now. Roguelites have been for a while, and with games like Balatro coming out, that they've just amped up how much people really are starting to enjoy roguelites, roguelikes, and yeah, extraction shooters have been on a weird hot streak too, but the mainstream is coming into that. The mainstream hasn't really touched, and when I say mainstream, I'm talking like AAA. Indie games are mainstream too, but you know what I mean. The big boys haven't really touched. That's like the underground punk in me, you know. I grew up, still am a punk rocker guy, so it's like they're on the mainstream, you know. The AAA's the bad guys. I'll still play AAA games, but almost never, right? Like I'm a pretty diehard indie head, even on my other channel. That's like occasionally I'll touch the AAA's. I did mention Dead by Daylight, and I don't think it was a AAA when it started, but at this point, that Behavior Studio's got to be huge. I mean, I don't know. I don't want to get into that. But where the hell was I? Oh yeah, so originality in the art and the style. They try to do something that nobody else has done, and then at the same time, they executed it really well, in my opinion. They came up with mechanics that make for a better endgame loop with the oils and everything, so once you finish the game, you feel the need to keep playing. It's a little pricey, so like that's the one thing I'm not super hyped about. The price is a little expensive. I think it's $30, right? Or $25. Was it 30 at one point? I can't remember. 25 is better. It's 20 on sale right now. I think it's worth a lot of money. I would pay $100 if I knew what I knew now about how much I loved it. But yeah, $30 can definitely seem like a lot. 25 can seem like a lot. I think 20 to 25 is totally fine. I just know some people that can't afford it. So that's why I'm like hesitant to be like, yeah, let's keep the price really high. But maybe Maybe it should be in the $25 range once it's completely out. Right now, it's just the early supporters, and of course, there's sales and everything, and that price might go down, and it might go back up. You never really know. But I could see some people being like, this isn't worth it for this price. I could definitely understand that. That's really maybe the only negative. And for a while, it was the performance, and you still might not know this, but the performance has been updated. There was a big patch yesterday that corrected a lot of the performance issues, helped a lot of the optimization, and that, I mean, fixed a lot of those issues for me personally. And I didn't run into any performance issues yesterday, so I can't give a knock for that at all. There's probably going to be a lot of older reviews that will most certainly give a knock for that. That's valid. It was pretty bad. It was never unplayable. Sometimes you have to take a look at your setup and say, do I even have, the right graphics card or CPU to be able to watch hentai and play Sulfur at the same time? Probably not, buddy. Like, sometimes you just have to accept the fact. Maybe turn off the webcam while you're doing it. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I just love it. I don't have a lot of negatives to say. And I am rehashing a lot of things I talk about all the time. It's just the originality. It just oozes it. And that's what makes it so much fun to play, because when you make solid game mechanics, fluid gunplay, which guns are the center focus of the game, and it's original, I mean, it's just a win-win. It's a 10 out of 10 in my book. It's a 10 out of 10. They could do things to make it a 9 out of 10, but I don't think they would do that. The development team seems to have an idea, and they've continued to execute upon that idea, and holy crap, we've gone 6 minutes without looking at a single review. But if you would like to write a review in the comments and then maybe revise it, you know what I'm saying? Like, you could write it, and then after we look at some negative reviews, maybe you can give some flowers to some people that might have a more level head in their negative reviews. I'm not going to guess that that's going to be the case. We're talking about Steam reviews right now. It's not known for being level-headed. It's known for knuckleheads. There are some people that take great pride in the reviews, though. They have like 13,000, 15,000 reviews, and they call themselves like Oedipus the Wise, and they have like a theme. They'd be like, honk honk goose man here. Like, I swear to God, if you go through the reviews, you see shit like that, and it's really weird. And then they'll just like, in between every sentence, like honk 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 honk, and it's, I don't know what you're doing. So we may see some stuff like that. I'm excited. I'm not doing this just to shit on dumb reviews, just to dunk up an alley-oop here. I'm doing it for the love of the game. For the love of the game, whatever we can do to keep talking about the game. So this first review, 0.6 hours on record, meh. That's wild. I mean, at least he told you why he hated it. When you drop in the water, it will cause huge FPS drop. I'm not going to open these every time because that takes forever to open. I don't even know what that means. When you drop in the water, it will cause huge FPS drop. What is he talking about? 10.6 hours dropped a negative review despite having 10 hours in the game, and then didn't bother to like explain himself. What does that mean? I haven't seen any. I mean, go through sewers. If that was an actual issue, nobody would be able to make it through sewers without a huge headache, because sewers got water all over the place. You're going to fall in the water. No save on exit, which means you are tied to your chair for an interrupted 45 minutes per run. I think he meant uninterrupted. Another 10 hours. So even the people that hate it can't help but like just get engrossed by it. Yeah, dude, it's a roguelite. So you're not supposed to just be able to jump in, jump out at any time. That's the point. There's supposed to be a challenge in the fact that you can't have any attachments, and it's one shot, you're done. It's a roguelite, not a roguelike. Roguelike, there is really no attachments most of the time, right? Very few things you could level up. In a roguelite, it's a little bit more free, at least to my understanding. It's a little bit more free-flowing, and you can have more things going into additional rounds, and there's more progress to be made. I prefer a roguelite, but roguelikes are kind of like the more challenging older brother that will leave welts on you when you complain. Games crashed multiple times towards end of raid, losing important items I had in my inventory. This paired with other small bugs inclines me to recommend waiting on this one. Now, this one was today. That I'm confused on, because there was a performance update yesterday. I think this individual must need to update their game, because I cannot speak highly enough about how good the performance update was yesterday. If you haven't tried it yet, Give it a try. I played through all of it. I only noticed one issue with performance. Not a single crash, and one issue with performance at the beginning of town. That was it. No other real hitching or anything. So I think this person might need to update. That's unfortunate that they posted that December today. I mean, that's unfortunate because that feels like incorrect information. There could be a PC issue there. I hate saying that, and you never want to gaslight people to say it's your fault, but that's weird. The day after the patch is very strange. This game has a bunch of pieces that seems like they would be fun, but once it comes together, it just feels terrible. You move too slowly for fights to feel climactic, and if you're trying to do anything with melee, it turns into a gamble if the enemy will take 2 bullets and 1 sword attack to kill, or 3 bullets and 1 sword attack. There is so much not explained to you that it is annoying to get into. I played one run for almost an hour, killing the same 3 enemies in the same dull gray corridors, just not worth the time to unlock stuff. Okay, there's a lot of things that make no sense in this, in my opinion. And I'm going to breeze through it in my mind real quick. So, you're talking about moving too slowly. For one, you're not even supposed to shoot and move with the starting equipment because there is bullet spread. That's a big part of the game. Attachments, oils, enhancements, the enchantments, they all affect how the guns work. You can help with spread and then be able to move around a little bit more freely, get an attachment like the laser sight so you can move and shoot. You're not supposed to start overpowered. That is what a roguelite is. And I feel like I'm going to be defining roguelites and roguelikes maybe throughout this whole thing because it doesn't seem like people have a clear grasp on that. And the game does advertise itself as an extraction shooter roguelite, and that is exactly what it is. I don't think there's anything misleading about what you're getting into. As far as the melee and shots go, most enemies, and I'm assuming they were in the caves because they only played one run, so they could have only been in the caves, which are gray and dull because you're in a cave, right? This isn't a Minecraft lush cave. This is a dull cave. Like, it is supposed to be like kind of creepy, you know? It's almost got like a horror atmosphere to it, an aura of mystery. The whole game has a bit of mystery to it because you're in the afterlife. Now, you don't get that right away, right? You're in like a weird purgatory in Sulfur. So, unless you're willing to like understand, and then once you get to town, it immediately brightens up. So, you just have to go forward a little bit, and then you'll understand a little bit more of the feeling of the game. I wouldn't say it's dull, though. I don't agree with that. I think the cartoonish design of the goblins stops it from feeling dull, in my opinion. And then as far as what he's talking about with, or what they're talking about with the melee and the guns, quite frankly, you probably aren't hitting them where you should be. If you shoot most of those enemies, like the spear guys with the dirk, you shoot them twice, and then melee every single time. If you shoot them in the face, which I don't know if you're like me, I'm going to shoot them in their face because I've learned since I was a wee lad to shoot stuff in the face when I'm shooting something in game. Let me make that very clear. I've not shot anything outside of game. And if you shoot them, even with the dirk, which is the starting gun, 2 times melee, the sword, or I'm sorry, the spear or the archer, they will die. That's just what's going to happen. So this person was probably missing shots, maybe shooting them in the foot or something, and then getting upset. And I don't want to say skill issue, but it is very consistent on how that works. I've done multiple playthroughs on this channel where I've had to be stingy with what weapons I'm using, how much ammo I'm using, and as I play throughout them, I explain what I'm doing, and I'll pop, stab, and then if I forget to pop, stab, I will mention, that's my fault, I didn't pop, stab. And there could be some inconsistencies in any game, especially when spread is involved. There's so much not explained to you that it is annoying to get into. It is challenging. It doesn't hold your hand at all. I get that. If that is a negative, that's one negative I agree with for them. If it's too hard for you because you don't understand what's going on, that's fine. I liked not knowing what was going on. I was actually super into that. I was like, this is all a mystery. I don't want to learn like without firsthand of what I'm supposed to do, what I can do. I liked unraveling that as I got better. It felt like that was the skill involved in the game. And then once you become the mega mind super genius like that before you, just kidding, then, you know, it's fun to just talk about it and scheme up like little things you can do and everything. So if you're not into that level of difficulty, I understand. And then just not worth the time to unlock stuff. You don't really unlock stuff. You bring stuff back. That's the extraction shooter side of it. An interesting review. I'm glad this person to speak highly on this, I'm glad they went to reasons why and not just meh. Like, fuck, fuck this guy. But this guy, I like this guy. Thank you for going into the reasons why. So that's a 1 point for the haters, the difficulty of not knowing everything. I could see that being a negative. So this guy gave a plus to good style, good core gameplay loop. We're off to a great start, guys. I don't see how this can go any negative. Terrible late game decision. Have to run through a stupid maze to get to presumably pre-last sector dungeon. Then have to get through that in its entirety to get to presumably last sector castle. This is massively tiring. Terrible game design decision. Hold on, maybe I should get it. That's funny to me. The stupid maze. This guy struggled in the maze and is upset. He's pissed about it. The hedge maze is fun, man. Just pop a couple power bars and run through it. It's not that bad. Once you realize the trash people can't kill you unless you stop moving and kind of let them kill you, the hedge maze is more fun than anything. It's barely a level. I don't consider it a level. If I was to tier list the levels, which is something we should do, that's a quick and easy video, and it's a good conversation, and I could turn a quick and easy video into 2 hours of conversation, and then you include more when you jump in the comments, and it's all fun. That's the challenge of it, though. There is no shortcut to dungeon, but it's really just 2 levels. I don't consider hedge maze to be a challenge at all. It's just free loot before you go into dungeon. And castle is 3 levels long. So if you can beat dungeon, you just have 3 levels and it all feels like an epic finale to the first part of the game. I don't see that as a terrible late game decision. Honestly, at all. I think it's just keep trying and get better at the game. It's scary, but you have an amulet to teleport back. If you're struggling and you need like different loot to bring in, teleport out, man. It's not that bad. Terrible game design decision. Apparently the cave dungeon will just start spawning absolutely OP and unkillable robots. Oh, no way! There's no way! He got hit by the androids in the caves! Oh, this is the most legitimate negative review you'll ever see. Unkillable robots in a small confined space when you have progressed in the game. This will catch you completely off guard as they were never there before when running that dungeon. This will cause you to lose all your shit when you were just trying to farm up for the late game content mentioned above. Terrible frame drops. Terrible frame drops, legitimate, at least at the time that this was written. Oh, we updated this. I kind of understand the positive views, but I get the sense that those people haven't played the game too much. It gets bad the more you play. Shame, really. Great potential ruined by some sloppy game design decisions. Sloppy game design decisions? I disagree completely. I have 200 some hours in this game, and it only gets better. Eventually I hit a wall. 200 hours is a lot of time. I mean, if my wife knew, she'd probably stab me in the face, and it'd be valid. It'd be fucking valid. There was something in there. The androids, that is hilarious. This guy absolutely got robbed. So the androids, you may not know what he's talking about. You may think he sounds like a crazy person. He's spoiling maybe not spoil, because it can happen to anybody, but the rarest enemy encounter in the game is androids can spawn. There'll usually be 3 of them. Sometimes I think there could be 1. I don't know if there could be more than 3. But for my instance, there was 2 and then another one, and then I saw them again in dungeon. I saw them again in dungeon, and there was 3 that time as well. So I say usually, but that's just from my experience. And both times it was 2 and then a little one. They're not impossible to kill. They're just high-level damage enemy. They're crazy. They're probably an Easter egg for what's going to happen later on in the story, and they'll probably be a more common enemy in a higher level. But that is hilarious that burned him that hard. I feel so bad for him because, yeah, you're not going to be well-equipped for that. You're gonna get shit on. But again, if you understand how the amulet works, which you're in caves, you might not know how that works yet. I can see that being frustrating. I can see that's just it's a terrible roll of the RNG dice. I don't know how you fix that because, like, it's awesome. The androids are awesome. Frame rate drops, maybe a memory leak, question mark? Guns feel like each bullet has RNG just like the old Stalker games. No consistency. Shotgun could one-shot an enemy that takes 3 shots for the next enemy at the same time. He's literally defining spread, and I used to be this guy. I used to not want to play Valorant or Counter-Strike because I did not like spread, but it is a very common thing in games. Some games call it bloom. It's the same thing. Your bullets, if you're not being precise, you're not ADSing, or you're moving a little bit, your bullets can go, or you shot too fast in succession, your bullets can go all over the place. And yes, this game has that. It does have things to counter Spread, obviously, with oils, enchantments, attachments. We've gone into that. But, like, that's not the fault of the game or the design. That's just the common gameplay thing that lots of gun games do. Counter-Strike is still, like, the most popular tactical shooter on the planet. And it's always had bloom and spread, man. I hated it in Halo Reach. I loved Halo Reach, but I hated that. I eventually came around to it, and I eventually enjoyed Valorant, loved Counter-Strike until they started leaking people's IP addresses. I don't know if you heard of that. Be careful with Counter-Strike because it's happened multiple times in both CSGO and Counter-Strike 2, so be very careful with that. I stopped playing it after it happened again like 3 months ago. I don't know how you feel about that. I don't want people leaking my shit, especially Valve. Like, that sucks. That's the one you'd expect that not to happen. Usually results in you dying, losing all your stuff. I get the concept of the implementation seems half-baked at this point. I would let them patch and balance. Art style is great, though. Art style is great. That was yesterday. He posted that yesterday. So he must have just missed the window for the patch. But I could have sworn the patch was like in the morning, was it not? Does it show? It doesn't show. But, oh, wait. Oh, it was at 12:30. So this guy must have been like up late gaming. He's a late gamer, you know. Or up early. He could be an early riser. And he games in the morn. Yeah, there's some interesting stuff in there. He just doesn't like spread. Hopefully it'll get better as development progresses, but I can't recommend this at the moment, especially at this ridiculous price point. Brutally unforgiving, unbalanced, and riddled with bugs. This is an interesting one to me. For one, I agree that hopefully it does get better as development progresses, although I already think it's amazing. If it got amazing plus, that's a positive. I think that's one thing we can all agree on. So thank you. Guy, I don't see your... Oh, Ab2 Matt? Agreed. But I can't recommend this at the moment. Yeah, so I knew the price point would come up. It's a lot to ask for even more than $10 in an early access indie game, especially for a first title. Let's be fair. Let's be real. That's a lot to ask. You're asking for an investment. Times are tough right now. Their times are tough for everybody. But, you know, if you watch a couple of videos, see a couple of reviews, pretty much every review on YouTube is positive. I haven't seen any negative reviews. If anyone knows of any, please actually let me know. We might have to look for those. That could be fun. I kind of want to react to that. Or, well, I'm not the best reactor because I like talk too much and it takes me like way too long to watch a video because I'd much rather butt in. And that's the ADHD. Just butt in there real quick. I don't know if there is any though because most people enjoy it. You know, it's very positive. It should be overwhelmingly positive in my opinion. Brutally unforgiving, unbalanced, and real. So unforgiving, unbalanced. It's not unbalanced at all. That just kind of falls into unforgiving. It's hard. Some games are hard, sweetie, little sweetheart. I wish I could wrestle your hair and give you a kiss on the cheek, but some games are hard, baby boy. It's okay. It's okay if it's hard. I did want to have a conversation about difficulties and the impact they could have on this game and how they could implement them. But we're not doing that right now because I feel like that could be a really lengthy conversation. We're already kind of having a really lengthy conversation. It's okay for the first run. Okay, wait, first off, that first 5 words here, and he's got 21 hours. So where's this going? But if you want to try to make a build, it's just a waste of time. None of the enchantments or oils are beneficial. They just make you slower, your damage worse. That's basically all they do. This guy got hit hard. Gmorg, no. Gmorg got hit hard with RNG. RNGesus shit all over him. He sat up in the clouds and took a dump on this man. Because if all the enchantments and oils you're getting are not beneficial, then, like, yeah, you just got, like, the worst ones. What's this guy getting, like, the water scroll? He's getting, like, the water scroll, like, what the fuck? 99% less damage. Why would I ever use this? And then he probably put it on anyways, because, like, it probably has a reason for it. And then stuff like Earth and stuff, and just some of the lower tier scrolls, which I did do a video on if you haven't watched the scroll ranking, because I talk all about them if you're confused about some of the scrolls, whether you're someone who's supportive of Sulfur or you're here to, you know, see your comrades in hating Sulfur. Or maybe you're looking for the adverse to your opinions in either direction. I do explain how all of them work. But no, there are definitely there's like some straight up oils that are just called add damage or damage oil. And a lot of the time with oils, if they have a negative, you use another oil that has a positive to counteract that negative, put them together, and then you have no negatives and you get whatever you're looking for. It is a bit of a mind game. I mean, you're going to have to do a little mental math. I suck at math. I think I have numbers dyslexia. And to me, yeah, I mean, it can be hard. Oh shit, the next one's a product refunded. I sneaked a little peek down there. But yeah, I think he just got shit on by RNG Jesus. But he did play 20 hours, so that's crazy, dude. Okay, so this one's got a bit wordy, it looks like. Maybe not. Product refunded. It was pretty cool. Art style was great, and that's what drew me in. But I feel like you die a bit too easy. Sometimes can't tell where damage is coming from. It got repetitive, never getting out of the cave. I will pick it up after a while once some updates happen. I can't recommend it right now. Definitely still work in progress. I wish they released it further along in development or done. I think it's perfectly fine where it is. The thing is you're not supposed to go through cave, and this might not be a realization for people right away. You're not supposed to breeze through cave like the first time through. You're not supposed to do that. If you do, that's awesome. That's really good. Maybe you had a really lucky run. You got some really powerful gear right out the gate. You'll die in town. Don't worry. We all die in town. But you are supposed to play through it a few times, at least. At the very minimum, 3 to 5 times to get your handle on the game. And then once you've done that, then you have a better idea of what you're doing, and it helps you prepare for town. And like I said, I don't care how many times you beat caves flawlessly, town will rock your shit. Town is where it really opens up. I don't think updates are going to help this guy get through cave. It's still going to be hard. It's a tough game, man. I wish more people would be like, I don't like it because it's hard. You know, sometimes that's okay. I really want to like this game as it is a unique art style and it's a roguelike. However, it's actually a roguelite, to my understanding. Because roguelite is a roguelike, but it's got more progression and more stuff you can unlock outside. And then roguelike, if I'm not mistaken, if I am, please correct me. And if you have a more definitive definition for it, that's good too. And then a roguelike is like the same thing, but you get almost no progression and very little progression. And it's like one shot, you run through a whole thing, and then most of the time, like never ending. I don't know, it's a whole thing, but you can use them. Just use whichever one you want. Just call it roguelike. I don't know why I'm even getting worked up. I'm not worked up about it, but I don't know why I care. However, I was experiencing severe frame drops. This was December 10th. That's valid. Drops, lag issues during the tutorial and beyond. I do think it has a ton of potential, but as it stands, it's not worth the money. Wait for it to develop a little further, and I think it's going to be great. I like this guy. He's a level-headed guy. Also, the font of the text seems cheap somehow. For a text-heavy game, this is problematic for me. It's a funny thing to say, because when I was starting to make more thumbnails for Sulfur, I tried to figure out what the font was. That title font is not cheap. That is awesome. But in-game, it is some weird variation on Comic Sans. I'm not kidding. I looked as much as I could at everything. It is kind of Comic Sans-y, so he's not wrong. The text is a little funny in-game, but I think that's intentional. I think it's supposed to be shitty, little cartoonish joke text. I don't think it's supposed to be super extravagant or anything. I've never seen someone like feel the need to be negative on font, though, unless it's hard to read. It's very easy to read, so that's fine for me. Wait, he said, for a text-heavy game, this is problematic. I'm sorry. I don't mean to laugh that much, but this is problematic for me. You can read it. Who cares? The game needs to be developed further, but I do believe it will be a banger when it's finished. Once it's a little more polished, I'll absolutely endorse it for whatever that's worth. Excited to see what the devs end up doing. They've done something great so far, but right now it's raw. It needs proven and baked, so it's edible. Wait, this guy is all over the place. I can't tell if like I need to open up a polygamous relationship with him and my wife, or if I need to stand 20 feet away from him at all times. I can't figure it out. Which one was that? This guy. Okay, here we go. It's a good game, don't get me wrong. But the gameplay changes substantially after... I don't know why there was that dramatic pause there, my bad. After you get through the starting area. Running through the first dungeon is nice, heaps of verticals to fight. Tactical movements, options for being up close and personal or using distance, it's super nice. But after that, it's all just needlessly punishing and kind of jank. The next zones will remove movement from being an option, and it comes down to just how much DPS you could dish out and your RNG, as there are some situations that you can't win, and wait, really? And there's no warning that you will get jumped when you will die in a practical instant. Sure, it's all part of the game, but it doesn't feel good to me at least. So, very strange way of putting this, because to me, yes, caves is very vertical. It's almost like a parkour when you're in caves, and town is just a straight line. Sewer is also just a straight line, but once you eventually get to dungeon, it does have a lot more of that verticality, and in fact, there's much more verticality. Now, I love speedrunning the game. I don't like speedrunning caves. I kind of like speedrunning dungeon because of that verticality, and I've learned some shortcuts around it, but to say that the verticality goes away is just wrong. That's an example of not playing through the rest of the game, and that's fine if you didn't enjoy it at some point. Oh, wow. People found this useful by giving it the gesture. I don't know what they're talking about when they say the RNG gives situations that you just can't win. Dude, you can pause the game at any time and eat to get your health back. And with that mechanic alone can help you beat pretty much anything in this game. As long as you're watching your health and not putting yourself into some stupid situations. And that can happen in any hard game. This is a hard game. There's some debate on whether or not it's hard for everyone. Some people are golden gifted gods, and you know, they don't face any challenge when they play Sulfur. They play with one hand, one eye closed. They're just that talented. Maybe both eyes. Maybe they're doing blindfold runs. I've tried it. It's not fun. But you can pause the game at any time, eat some food, keep the health up. There's no instance that is unwinnable unless you don't have meds or whatever. If you don't have food or meds or however, then you need to go back, amulet charge, go back to the church, get kitted, maybe run caves again. That's just how it is, buddy. I mean, that's the art of the hard game. I'm sorry. I hate to be rough on you, but that's just what it is. First dialogue of the game, and they say, "Good damn," like, wow, man, grow up. Refunding. Learn some better words. Not all of us hate God. Are you serious? This is not a real man. I rock with Jesus 777. Is this real? Uh-oh. This is something I shouldn't be clicking on. I play roguelike shooters, sims, colony sims, and zombie games. I think this is a child. I think that is a child. I'm not going to say anything past that. Fun till I lost 5 hours worth of shit to a bug. Be interesting to see what the bug was, because I don't know exactly what he's talking about. Terrible frames when you turn around. Some total freeze-ups as you return to the church from a level. Sometimes random instant death. I heard this the other day in the comments. Someone said frames, bad frames you turn around. I've never had that issue, ever, even when the performance was bad. So I'd like to see an example of that. If anyone could show me an example of what that looks like, if it's still happening or when it was happening. I understand that could be hard to get, to capture, to show me, but I never had that issue. I don't know what that like exactly entails. Turning around and having frame issues. I don't know what that means, just to be totally honest. In the current state of the game, I can't recommend it due to how the enemy spawning works. The fact a horde of dudes can spawn behind you in a building and mob you, and you can't get out due to collision detection. You just insta-die, and this happens a lot, especially once you get to the town area, and certain guns just seem absolute worthless. It's that or enemies just have too much HP, but at the moment I would wait on getting the game and give it a few months. There's a lot of potential in spite of what I just said. That was a stroke to read without punctuation. My goodness. I like need the stage direction coach. Yeah, that was hard to read. So this is one that's I've seen a couple times before, and maybe even during this video, and I didn't mention it. There are no enemies that spawn up behind you, ever. In fact, if you go into dev mode and fly through a level, once you spawn into the level yourself, every enemy is spawned in. Just fly through and you will see every single enemy. I learned this when I was making... Can I help you? No. What's up? Okay. Well, you open the door. Oh, you're WD-40ing. She's WD-40ing the door. Hit it, girl. You got it? It's a tricky sumbitch, isn't it? You can do it. I believe in you. Get that nice spray. Spray a little bit of that in my mouth. I want to get weird with this one. I don't know if it's going to work. Maybe it's the little, like, the little latch on the inside. Well, yeah, now they're going to be stinky. Oh, yeah, so when I was doing the music tier list, I had to fly through and capture some hot shots, some Drake. No, Drake is a freaky, potentially PDF file. Never mind. Oh, what is that? Why do I keep hearing? I don't understand why that happens. I swear to God, every time I record a video, I hear that, like, little ding. I don't know what that is. I don't think it should be happening. I don't have the alert box open. That's very strange. This is such a detour from what we've been doing, so I appreciate you and your patience. But so when I was flying through, I noticed every enemy had already spawned. So, and this was weeks ago. Like, I recorded that footage weeks ago, and this guy posted that a couple of weeks ago, 13 days ago. So that is just incorrect. If it feels like they're spawning behind you, she let Marcel in. She let the orange tabby in, and orange tabbies are menaces to society. So he's just going to walk around meowing now, I guess. I only keep my Chihuahua in here because he's the calm one sometimes. So, wow, where was I? Yeah, if it feels like they're spawning up behind you, it's because, like, maybe they do. No, they can't, because I went through, and you could do this yourself. Go into dev mode and fly through. You'll see every enemy. They're there. That's why sometimes when you spawn and you can hear shots in the distance, and you can, like, come through and find dead stuff, because the enemies are already acting to the surrounding environment, whether they're fighting androids, chickens, kids, whatever it is. They're already doing stuff all the way at the end. In fact, Town is a great example of this, because at the end of Town, the mini bosses are spawned behind the curtains, like, every time. In fact, one of them always spawns in the same place. So they're already just, like, standing behind the curtains. Before the fight even begins, you could shoot behind the curtains and kill them before you have to start the fight. A little FYI. So yeah, that's just not right. That's not right information. You're just not clearing the areas. You think you are, you're not checking thoroughly enough, and they're getting behind you. Maybe the ghost did it. Yeah, the ghost can fly through walls. You know, that one does spawn. Too early. There's simply not enough meat on the bones here. It's a good start. Because of the visual style, hitboxes can feel off. It's the spread. Enemies frequently clip through walls. They did. That's true. They would, especially the floor, which is not a wall. The floor is like the wall of the ground, I guess. There are too few guns, and each stage feels strangely bare. Wait on it. It's not really worth the $20 right now. Too few guns. There's 31. That's a lot of guns. In my opinion, 31 is a lot of guns. I was shook by how many guns there were. Most games you love don't start with 30 guns. They start with probably 12 to 15. Especially a single-player experience, you might be lucky to get 6 to 8. So, yeah, it's not Call of Duty. You let Marcel in. Yeah, you always do. Yeah, you never see him. That's why he always gets in. He's just like dicking around meowing and shit. You're right there. Being a bastard. It's alright. It's fine. I can get him out later. Unless he wants to leave. He's looking at you. Call him. Go, Marcelli. Marcelli! Come on, you stupid cat. Nah, he's got the one brain cell ticking. It's fine. Oh, yeah. To say that 31 guns, is it 32 now with the salamander, is not enough guns? I feel like I don't know what you're playing to feel like that's not enough. That's a lot. It's RNG, so you might not see them all right away, but there is a lot of guns in this game. Most of them are fun to use. They're all fun to use if you build them correctly. This game, oh wow, we got a big one. This is exciting. This game is honestly quite fun. I really like the overall gun feel, but I don't think I can leave a positive review right now. This person seems very level-headed. I'm going to say that right away. This might be the most level-headed person we've seen yet. Let's see how they ruin that. There's an annoying glitch that makes my character fly, question mark, for a few seconds. What? When it should fall. Basically, it ignores gravity. I stay up in the air for a little before falling to the ground. Oh my god! They have coyote time! They got coyote time on their shoes! And they think it's a bug! Oh no! That's amazing. This music is cool. Especially the Witch House tracks. However, they keep replaying, which ends up being annoying. Bro, that's how video games work. This dude didn't wait two sentences. Video game tracks work like that. Your level has a song attached to it. And Caves has 5 songs. So, or 4, or whatever it is. If you count the boss music, it is 5. But that's how video games work. What? It's just a loop in the background. Mario works like that. Is Mario at fault for that? This game performs weirdly. My FPS are capped on 120. It's stable, but sometimes a big guy will appear and they will drop in the 90s or even the 50s. You should feel good. They got a good system. Because there was times where my frames would drop to 1 or 2, buddy. All right, back in these times, man, they don't even know how good they got it. I wonder how great it would run for them now, because it runs perfectly for me now. Weird room layouts. This is probably the biggest reason why I'm giving Sulfur a negative review. The same room layouts keep repeating. When I started the game for the first time, I saw the exact room 5 times in 20 minutes. This is not an exaggeration, which makes the game feel repetitive for the wrong reasons. It's even more annoying when you have a level that's separate two same rooms with a different one in between. Because of this, sometimes you don't even know from which area which direction you're coming from. So, in Sulfur, and I feel like I'm becoming encyclopedias for this fucking game, it's procedurally generated rooms that are all part of seeds. So you can actually like go and find the seed. I've seen people talk about it. It's probably something you do in dev mode, or you might be able to find that information without being in dev kit. I don't know exactly how to find the seed. But yes, there could be, they build the rooms and then put them together, and then they take them and they generate a bunch of different outcomes, thousands of different outcomes. So sometimes rooms can be back to back, but procedural generation is not necessarily a negative thing, mostly because they made those the rooms all themselves and they all flow together. Occasionally there are some issues with that, but that's just how procedural generation goes. In fact, it adds for more variety instead of just the same level over and over again. You're getting a chance at a waterfall room in caves, or like a tall room in dungeon. I don't, that's just hating on procedural. That's just how that works. That's just how procedural generation works. I don't know. Coupled to this, recurrent, and they could also add more seeds with different rooms later on down the line. But they probably won't do that. They'll probably focus on new areas, like Deep Woods is coming. Coupled to this, a recurrent thing happened. I see no enemies for a few minutes. I enter a room, and there's like 10 of them agglutinated. My FPS drops and it makes the game harder than it needs to be, since you can't really see clearly when a clump of guys is charging at you in a small room. I had a stroke halfway through that. I don't even know what to say. And last but not least, I guess that's how the game was designed, but it's a bit frustrating that corridors are so small, or that my character can't slip on the surface of the walls. When I'm shooting enemies while walking back, I often bump into the wall, which stops me. I guess that's a me issue, but I found it a bit annoying. At least they own up to it, you know. They're clumsy. So wait and see, I guess. It's just a bit sad because I feel like I paid way too much, $25 for the experience. Right now the game should be 10 or 15 euros, not 15, not 25. I think 20 is a good spot for Sulfur at the moment. 15 to 20 I think is a good spot. TLDR, Sulfur has a fun gameplay loop, or I would pay 100, but for the average Joe, I think 15 to 20 is good. Gunplay, but as of right now, can't really think of anything that will justify this price. There are annoying issues that will need to be solved. So I'm seeing a lot of negative reviews that don't necessarily, maybe the people don't play a lot of video games, or video games with specific design choices like procedural generation. What was some other ones? Oh, gameplay soundtrack. I mean, that one's just weird, man. That's a weird complaint, because that's how video games have always worked. Yeah, that's just funny as fuck to me. I've never seen. What's interesting about this is I'm seeing things and reading things I've never read in my entire life, thanks to some of these people. And I am not trying to talk shit about that. I just have never seen this outlook on video games, especially the soundtrack. I've never seen that before. I've never seen someone complain about a song repeating itself in a video game. That's brand new to me. Did not expect an extraction shooter roguelike mechanic. It should be. Let me see. What does it say on the store page? Sulfur is a modern old-school action adventure. Outsmart enemies, find treasure, improve weapons, harness powers, delve deeper, find answers, make it end. Okay, that's very brief, but what does it say? Combining the first-person shooter mechanics with role-playing elements. Did they not mention that this is a roguelite ever? Hold on. Wait a second. Is there no mention of this being a roguelite? I feel like there used to be. Oh, it does say extraction shooter right there for tags. Do they say roguelite or roguelike? Where is this taking me? I don't see. Genre is not there. Hold on, there might be. I controlled F and I don't see really where it's taking me. I will say this person, I was gonna say something, but actually I think the Sulfur devs should take a moment to go on the Steam page and update somewhere, mention that this is an extraction roguelite experience, because this person's right. I don't see that openly anywhere. So that is a very valid criticism. I was not made aware of that. I'd never noticed that. It is a shooter first and foremost, but I think it would be good information to give people that it, like, up front, that it is a roguelite extraction shooter. They might be weary of calling it an extraction shooter because it sounds like PvP, but it definitely is one. Wish there was a way to disable it. Disable what? Don't really like this genre. I was just expecting a regular shooter, but the art style and everything else is great. You know what? That is a completely valid negative review. I am now just learning. I thought that said something. I thought it was in the main description. I could have sworn I read that somewhere. Really not much to this game in its current state, and it's pretty boring. It has a skeleton for a great game. It just needs some meat on its bones. Would recommend waiting for some updates before jumping in. There is a lot in Sulfur. A lot in Sulfur. If you take, if you like look and loot and everything, make sure to loot and everything. There is a shit ton in this game. There's like over 700 things of loot. So I don't agree that there's not much to it. I think there is a lot to it, especially when you start to explore the gun building. That is one of the main... that is the main end game mechanic, is gun building with oils, enchantments, attachments, and that does make the gameplay more varied. So I don't agree with that, but that is a personal opinion. If what they like is like Sims levels of DLC and everything, then I can see this not having enough for them. If they need a dogs and cats and vampires and werewolves DLC, then yeah. Why are you looking at my negative reviews? Buy it. Wait, what the hell? They gave a negative review and then told you to buy it. First off, it's a targeted attack at us. Not cool, bro. I'm so confused on whatever that is. Wait, make that positive, bro. Why are you bringing down the review score? They look. It's funny to make the joke and everything, but the Sulfur devs, Perfect Random, poured their heart out into this thing. This is very much a passion project. Every ounce, every minute of playing the game, you feel nothing but love for the thing that they've created. So, I don't like that. I don't like that. I'm sure if they read that, they think it's funny, but you're bringing down the overall score a little bit, and I think that's lame. I think that's lame to me. I don't know why. Maybe I'm too sensitive about my Sulfur review score, as if it matters. Just anybody that plays it, that has a love for extraction or challenging games, is probably going to enjoy it. That's all that matters. Why do I get more FPS on Streets of Tarkov than I do in this game? Streets of Tarkov. Isn't it Escape from Tarkov? What the fuck is Streets of Tarkov? Needs time in the oven. They got that November 26th. I don't think so. I thought from the moment I played this game, full release, 3 or 4 days early, the devs did give me a key. That's how I was introduced to the game. I got a key from a website called Lurk It, and then I played it a few days early. Maybe it was a week early. And, yeah, at no point was I like, I can't play this. It needs work. That's like, yeah, you could say that about Cyberpunk. You could, for an example. Cyberpunk most certainly was almost unplayable. There was a bug and a glitch at every turn. This game has never been like that, in my opinion. The performance issues have been annoying, but not enough to make me think like I can't play this at all. There's been times, and I have mentioned it, and I even made a video where I was like, I need to take a break. But you know what? Yeah, I got to give him credit there. I did have to take a fucking break. So it can be stressful. I guess I was able to look past the stress a little bit and enjoy more of the game without it bringing me down too much. But eventually I did hit a boiling point after like 200 hours. But they fixed all that. So, I mean, I shouldn't have that boiling point issue again. I have had a lot of crashes in my time. Good game, great potential. Don't buy it in early access at full price. Lack of content and loads of performance issues. Performance issues are fixed. I don't agree with lack of content. Key binding, please. There is key binding. There's always been key binding. What? There's always been key binding. There's never not been key binding. Since the second we were born, there was key binding in Sulfur, man. That's the first thing they put in the goddamn game. This game can be very fun, but is way too hard for no reason. It feels so much of a grind, and I worry more about losing my items than I do about having fun playing the game. You take a ton of damage from even the smallest enemies, and healing items don't do that much. So I find it fun how hard the game is. I embrace the challenge of Sulfur. At first I was like, this looks like a cute little fun little like artsy, like the design is cool. I should be able to run through this, get a little bit of story love. That's the first impression I get. And then I play it and I'm like, wow, this is fucking hard. I'm raging. I'm yelling. I'm taking off my mic. I'm threatening to never play again. This is really hard, but I keep coming back because I am competitive with everything in life. I love being competitive. I don't think that's a negative trait, and that made me crave the challenge. I love the challenge of this game, and I think the gameplay is fun enough to make that challenge worth it, in my opinion. Oh, wow, we got a nasty load here, in a good way. Whew, I need to take a drink of this thing. I wish it had alcohol. This review is for an early access copy date. I don't understand why European, and I'm sorry to the Europeans out there, they put the day, then the month and the year. Do they actually say 28th November 2024? Because that sounds weird to me. November 28th, 2024. I don't know. I've always looked at that and thought that was strange. I don't agree with that. I don't agree. I think if we're looking, and I'm going to pull the Patriot card real quick, and I got no bad blood against my Europeans out there, but I do think Americans are number one when it comes to English and sentence structure and words and spelling and shit. I'm just going to say it, dude. Some of y'all motherfuckers don't know how to spell favorite and color. I'm sorry. Or defense or offense, man. What are you putting a C in there for? It doesn't make sense. It's an S. Okay? It's just what it is. At the moment, I find this game lacking in too many aspects. The levels are extremely linear and flat in structure. There is a certain verticality aspect to some rooms and modules, but there is an issue. Did they use ChatGPT to revise this? Let me see. The player has limited ability to move up and down. Oh, no, they didn't because there's typos. While enemies do not. They will make seemingly impossible jumps to get to you while you will have to look for stairs, appropriate ledges, and ladders. Dude, this might be way too wordy for me to get through. Honestly, we've been doing this for almost an hour. This one might be way too wordy. I'm gonna put it all up right there. I don't know if my webcam is blocking it at all. It's blocking it a little bit. Let me look. If you want to read this, pause right now. Give it a gander. That's too much for me. It's not funny. I'm not laughing. I'm not learning anything new. It's very wordy. If you want that, go for it. But we've been through so many reviews right now. If it was at the very beginning, I probably would have read the whole thing. Not a solid thumbs down. Might change it later. Sulfur could be a very fun game, and it has a lot of interesting mechanics and almost does a good job of meshing roguelike systems with whatever the fuck an extraction shooter is. You don't know what an extraction shooter is? You're unaware of what an extraction shooter is? Man, they're everywhere. You haven't heard of like Hunt Showdown or anything? That's weird. The problem is the enemy design and variety is kind of lame. In a given room of a level, there's never any less than 16 dogs or babies. Or dagger witches. Whatever that level's flavor of fast-moving enemy is. What the fuck is a dagger witch? You talking about the moped dudes? Everybody's got nicknames for them, I guess. They rush you and leave you to no tactical choice but to backtrack down the hallways and shoot them at choke points to avoid getting swarmed, which kind of invalidates the whole level design philosophy of hallways connecting arenas, is because you almost never get to properly use an arena to fight enemies in. That is not the philosophy of the level design. So, at first glance, it may seem that way. In some enemies, you can do that. There is RNG of what's going to spawn in any given room, and sometimes a screamer can get hurt by something else and bring more enemies into rooms and caves, for example. And yes, there can be an overwhelming amount of enemies. That's just RNG. There's a lot of RNG involved. That's why the amulet can take you out at any time. If you don't feel comfortable in a fight, you can leave at any time. But the game, one of the most important things you can learn to do better in Sulfur and not be as challenged and not be able to handle the challenge is to learn how to kite. That is very much something they intended for you to learn how to do. I've never heard the devs say that out loud. I forgot to say I have a disease, but I have a disease. The devs, I've never heard them say that out loud personally, but I very clearly feel that when I play the game. And I always recommend people learn what kiting is. If you don't know what kiting is, play Call of Duty Zombies once, and you'll find yourself kiting because you have to. It was popularized in Call of Duty Zombies, and kiting will amplify you and make you so much better at this game. You will thank me. Look it up. They clearly were designing the gameplay around that. That is the philosophy, is taking that group of enemies, playing around them, and yeah, you will use the arenas and stuff if you choose to kite them there. You don't have to go backwards. Going forwards might be more threatening, but, you know, going backwards usually is safer because you know the room is safe behind you, but you can kite them in whatever room you're in, depending on what you've got. Say you've got a pair of Sulfurs, you can triple jump around that room. They're not going to catch you, okay? They're not going to catch you. Don't be so scared, and you'll be fine. 50% of the gameplay is luring large groups of enemies back down the level with you picking them off one by one. Again, Call of Duty Zombies has been popular since the day it came out. It's still very, very popular. So that gameplay mechanic is not a bad thing. The weapon, in my opinion, maybe not to this guy. That's valid. He doesn't like kiting. That's cool. He doesn't even know what an extraction shooter is. So he may have never even played COD Zombies. The weapon customization aspect is the best part, but that's also kind of let down by the underwhelming modifier things you can do you can add to them. Enchantment scrolls, which mostly suck in terms of augmenting damage, and oils, which suck less at augmenting damage, but also have trade-offs which are usually badly implemented. You can quite easily ruin your workhorse weapon by expecting the oil to work the way it tells you to. It does. I managed to get a pretty cool shotgun to have 2 durability due to some iffy maths to the debuff, or the oil debuff, meaning it broke in one shot. People are aware of these issues. That's not an issue. That's you putting too many goddamn oils together without reading, son. You're not reading, my boy. It tells you when it does less durability, bro. The oils warn you of that. That's not an issue. That is the intent. That is you can't have... They're like, can every oil just be really good so I can have some super atomic god weapon at all times? No. That's where the balancing comes in, man. I'm sorry you can't shoot 5,000 bullets at once with no repercussions for that. I'm sorry. Maybe someday. But no, not ever, because that would be really dumb. But the support, this fairly new game is still kind of slow, and not a lot has been done about fixing the oil issues. There is no oil issues. Balancing damage. There is one oil issue. I think it's called rigid system. Will slow your reload, but it's the only one I can think of. It's not supposed to do that. At one point it was, but they took that out. They said they might put it back, and I could have sworn I read that somewhere in the Discord. You could look for it yourself. I don't have time to right now, but I remember reading that. And when I found out that information, I did a video and talked about that. So there was one oil, just one. But otherwise, that's not an issue. The oils literally tell you what's going on. Balancing damage or reducing the spam of dogs, babies, etc. I hope things get better. If nothing else, the team behind it seems to be small, and I can't get too upset at the lack of updates in under a month of full release, but it just doesn't stick with me as much as I thought it would have. Definitely give it a try on sale if you can. Okay. They gave us the storage update in under a month. And that's a big update, in my opinion. They addressed one of the most annoying things for a lot of people was the lack of storage, all the fun stuff you can get, and nowhere to put it. So they addressed that right away. So I don't agree with lack of updates. And there was a dry period. I feel like the Christmas update wasn't enough for me to be excited about. There was some fun stuff in there, but ultimately it got boring quickly. And, this latest patch yesterday, the performance one, is very good, and it got me way back more excited, especially the ending when they mentioned the future like Deepwoods. So, yeah, I don't agree with that. I think it's not the best we can expect for updates, but it also is the holiday season. These guys are busy with their families. There's 4 of them, okay? They've got families to take care of. Yes, I would love to get down on my knees and be like, just leave them, bro. You can come live at my house. You can sleep in my son's bedroom, but I'm not going to do that. Unless they want to. Hit me up. I absolutely love the game. These guys got 33 hours, by the way. Saturated jorts. I absolutely love the game. Fun, very fun, good loop, lots of stuff to find, and lots of builds to create. However, there's a fairly game-breaking issue with the game that results in an unplayable amount of lag. The game's enemies are 2D decals, much like Doom or any other retro boomer shooter. This adds to the art style, and I assume it makes it easier for the devs to create a reactive death when enemies are killed. However, their corpses are left after they are killed and sometimes split into more separate decals. The main issue is these decals do not clear. You'll be halfway through the level, which is not necessarily linear, to the point where you're only fighting one way and look one direction. If your game does not crash, you will experience a severe stutter of frames. This can make fights difficult because you have to keep enemies on one side of you so you can actually function in the fight. I think it was a really weird move to work on a content drop for increased storage over the obnoxious bug many are complaining about. Sure, storage was a fairly annoying thing to work around, but there's no use in dropping content if the actual gameplay is hurting. Okay, so when they dropped the storage update, they did mention that they were hard at work at a performance update, and I think 2 weeks after the storage update, they did do a small performance patch. Now, if you're me, that patch made my game way less stable, and it actually hurt more than it helped, but they were trying to help. They obviously weren't releasing a patch with intention to kill. They did mention, though, when they released the storage one, that they were hard at work at fixing the performance. It sucks that the performance issues existed for so long. They are fixed now. All I can say is, I get it, bro. That did suck. I agree. It sucked. And they actually changed the PNGs. Now they're SFG files, so that issue is no longer present at all. Okay. Let's see. Unfortunately, I have to give this a negative review. This is potato bread, by the way. It looks like moldy bread. While I understand indie studios are going to run into issues with knowledge base and ability to streamline performance, this review is almost entirely because of optimization issues. It's fixed now. You know, I gotta be honest, I gotta keep going. Fun game, but FPS drops need to be fixed. It's fixed. We got you, bud. Don't worry now. An interesting mix of chill vibes and hardcore mechanics. Definitely a unique experience and a labor of love. Agreed. The art style, the music, the sound, weapon enchantment, and item crafting designs are commendable and super satisfying. Now, the major weaknesses are the optimization. Keep going. Yep. We're an hour into this, folks. You know, the optimization definitely is something that needed to be fixed, and it was. Thank God. This game is fun, but stability. Yep. And I think we're just getting into the more repetitive stuff. The game is really bare bones. I mean, we've had some fun though. We've definitely had some fun. Wait, what is this guy saying? I have no feelings for this game. Just discovered it. I played 2.5 hours, and even if it was fun for 25 euros, I was expecting a lot more. Game is really easy also. It's so simple. I played a whole 2 hours and I beat the first level. What a stupid thing to say. You didn't even beat the game yet, man. You don't know the full extent of the challenge or the difficulty, all right? You're fluffing your ego. That's okay. That's okay. If it feels easy to... Maybe it is. Maybe he did beat the whole damn game. He could be correct. I finished caves and village levels in one shot. Lots of performance issues for some reason. That's weird. Well, the reason is it's early access, you know. That is another point. In Sulfur's defense, when you buy this game, if you look at, like, there's no false advertising there. There's a roadmap, and the first thing it says is fixing shit. Because they're very aware. It's early access. I don't agree with early access. In fact, I'm adamantly opposed to early access. I'll give him a slide here because I love the game. But as a concept in general, I am opposed to early access. I don't like it. I would rather the game be content complete and work on DLC and updates for a better lifespan. But I do appreciate getting the game early. I don't think Sulfur is a predatory game. There are predatory games out there like Lost Islands recently released. I did a video of that on my other channel. If you want to see what actual bad early access and actual unplayable gameplay is, go check that out. That is the actual shit that these people are talking about. Sulfur's not predatory in its early access state. The optimization was rough. It's fixed now. It was never unplayable in my opinion. That's weird because the game looks like that's weird because the game don't looks like a demanding game in performances. Dude, he's starting to talk like Dobby or Golem. Gollum. I said Golem. So in the end, I got refunded. I'm sure the game will improve and all. The foundations are here. God damn, dude. I understand the game is easy for you, but I can see the spelling is very difficult for you. Gameplay loop is fun, but I put a lot of importance on the values of products. What is he even yapping about? And if something seems overpriced, I can't recommend it. It's a really little indie game in early access, and 25 euros for this is way too much for me. Oh, man, I can see why he's pulling gestures here, dude. This is hard to read. I mean, you go and you fluff your ego up, too. There's no point even putting this in here. Game is really, you know, that's when you know someone's full of shit. If someone would have came at you and been like, oh, yeah, it's a hard game, huh? They're like, it was easy for me. If you feel the need to mention game is really easy also, you noticed that the game is hard. You noticed, or else you wouldn't have fucking said that. I'm just going to call your shit out on that one, buddy. This shit kind of sucks. Yeah, 9 hours. Kind of sucks, but you're willing to fucking grind it out for 9 hours. I think you liked it a little bit, buddy. Cool game, but unplayable. Very poor optimization. It was never that bad. Go back and look at my videos from when the game first came out. The optimization issues were apparent and they were there, but it was never to the point where it was unplayable. I went through many runs without crashes. I had some crashes on runs, but guess what I did? I just got right back into it and finished it without issue. Never did I have like multiple crashes in one run. Okay? The game itself was unplayable. Crashes technically is making the game unplayable, but they did fix those, and I don't know. I would never have called this game unplayable. It's had some issues, some hiccups. Amazing game, but the lag when looking in certain directions make the game unplayable in areas. I still have no idea what that... Is that enough to make it a downvote with 34 hours, man? The game itself is enjoyable, and I see its potential. However, while exploring a dungeon, I suddenly died in an area with no enemies and lost all the equipment I had spent hours gathering. Even though I had done nothing wrong. I've done nothing wrong. I believe this is likely related to frame drops when there are many enemy corpses, as many reviews have mentioned. Unless the issue is addressed, I cannot recommend this game. I have great news for you, TM. go ahead and change that thumbs up to that thumbs down to a thumbs up, because you can now officially recommend it because the performance issues have been fixed. Yippee! We got him back, boys. We got TM back on our side. Hopefully. Game has major lag and slowdown, which will kill you in later areas. Apart from this, the game has a lot of potential, but right now I can't recommend it. Insta-kill you. People keep saying insta-killing. Are people going around the father's shirt thinking that that's okay? I don't think I've ever been insta-killed by anything other than, like, maybe the Scroll of Noxia on myself. I don't know what's wrong with this game. It's so broken. This actually looks like it might be pretty funny to read. Never mind. Too long. Yeah, you guys are yapping too much. This game has the gameplay of a Flash game with Newgrounds made in 2006. No way I'm paying money for this one. Hotshot, you already paid money for it. That's how you were able to write the review. And no, it doesn't have the gameplay of a Flash game from Newgrounds made in 2006. This guy's just an edgelord, I think. Dead charmed. Yeah, there's certainly no charm there, buddy. This game itself is awesome, but wow, the performance is awful. It's fixed. Oh my god, I'm not meaning to flail my arms around violently. God, those Sulfur fans are violent. We get it. You love killing goblins in caves. Get over yourself. Sitting here dishing out shit on the people that don't agree with you. Wait, some of these are getting real interesting. Holy shit, this guy's got 97 hours. We'll get to that. I like the graphic style and FPS mechanics of the game, but this game is just a little bit too much unforgiving for me. You spend hours grinding, then when you die, perma-die, you lose all your gear. Again, they need to put somewhere on the Steam page that this is a roguelite. Please, Perfect Random. People are going to keep getting upset because of false advertising, sort of. Not necessarily false advertising, but just not knowing what a roguelite is and then being thrown into one. I really think they should put some language somewhere that this is a roguelite. Because I thought we would see that. I didn't see it. You went with me. I didn't see it. Plus, all your money is gone. You only get a small fraction of your money back depending on how much you suffered, or in other words, how deep you progress in the level. It's actually based off, I think it's 10% of whatever your value is on your person, your guns, I don't know about the ammo, but anything you have in your inventory, it's 10% of that is what your suffering is. Some other people mentioned frame drops. I noticed it too, but I can't blame the devs per se because the game is still so early in the early access. And you know what? That's another way of looking at it. I said I don't like early access, but you know what you're getting into when you get early access. So you're very well aware that there will be issues, and they never said there wasn't. So you're getting what you're paying for. So if you're shocked at certain bugs and issues, yeah, I mean, feel free to mention them. Feel free to have a negative review, but you did sign up for that to some extent, especially when the first part of the roadmap is fixing shit. Like, they know it's in a bad spot. Which brings me to my final point. Wait until devs flesh out the game and add more content, because in the current shape and form, the game is just not worth the $25 I gave it. I would pay $100 for this game. It's made for me, and you, maybe, but not for him. I do like this game, but there's serious problems with balance and RNG. Corpse on the grounds block shots, and there are enemies small enough to hide hidden piles of corpses that could take you out in 3 hits. Because of the way the hitboxes are made, you can shoot the body of an enemy, but because the limb overlaps, if you have hit the limb, thereby doing less damage. Is he complaining? I love the mechanic that the bodies, they can block the... I love that. The first time I noticed that, I was like, oh shit, I gotta be like very, very careful of this. I like that the bodies have hitbox still and they can stop you from hitting the enemy. I always thought that was kind of cool. It's unique. Because of the way the hitboxes are made. Having played for 20 plus hours, I can say the majority of guns I have gotten have been the same 10 weapons. Wow, that's just bad RNG. I have been lucky to get a few of others, but the majority have been from a very small pool of the same guns. There are instant death traps that ruin runs. Where? Which ones? There are also instances where the game decides that you're doing too well and you have 20 plus enemies. That's not what it is. The game is not like nerf him. This isn't a fucking gotcha game, all right? There's no code. It's not a goddamn slot machine, all right? It's actual luck. Sometimes you can breeze through town and have 4 or 5 enemies, it feels like. Well, never that low. They'll be real spread out. And then sometimes you have 40 coming at you out of the spawn. It's just a roll of the dice. I don't know what to tell you. Keeping a more sustained tone one way or another would be better. When you die, you get a percentage of the value of equipment. Yeah, we all know that. The items you lost. Still early access, though, so hopefully the devs can smooth out the rough patches. I gotta say, when I look at this, none of this is rough patches. He just, in general, does not like the gameplay. Even though he put 60 hours in. He fucking wrote this, dropped another 40 hours. Granted, he hasn't played more than an hour in the last 2 weeks, But that's not rough patches. That's just what that's going to be. Those things aren't going to change. That's intentional design. Okay, this guy is 97.9 hours on record. Holy smokes. This game needs better optimization. It does. It got it. Don't worry. I played the demo a lot, and it ran buttery smooth even when the floors, walls, and ceilings were smeared with blood and gore. Now it starts to get FPS drops if there are a few corpses and blood piles in the direction you're looking at, even if you can't see it directly. And after any extended firefight, because if there are explosives involved, it really starts to chug and the FPS drops drastically. Playthrough content available currently, and I believe this is 100% because of the persistence of gore, shell casings, spent mags, blood smears, etc. Because of this, despite the game being a lot of fun, I cannot recommend anyone buying this game. Although I'll drop 100 hours in. That's fine. I mean, again, optimization before the patch yesterday is totally fine. That's fine. Nope. Nope. Unfortunately, it just wasn't for me. The art style is cool, however, nothing about it drew me in, just kind of boring, and the way the NPCs are used reminds me of games called Animal Crossing that my kiddo plays. Maybe I'll try the game again another time, but for now I'm refunding. What? Bro saw his kid play Animal Crossing once. He was probably like, hey, Dad, look at this shit. And he talked to Tom Nook. I love Animal Crossing. Animal Crossing was one of my favorite fucking games, all right? I've always been hugely transparent on how much I love Animal Crossing. None of the NPCs react like Animal Crossing. Dude, you go up to Animal Crossing and Ketchup is like, go get me a shirt, all right? I borrowed it from freaking Pedro, all right? Go get me my shirt, bring it back, man. It's nothing like that. Or they'll be like, hey, you look really cute today, and your smile brings delight to orphans that never had a chance to see their parents smile. Like, it's just shit like that. What is he talking about? It's standard RPG conversations, and that's just what it is. That's a really funny comparison. I never put Animal Crossing in this game. This game is great fun and very replayable. The only issue I'm having is the optimization. Yep. Okay, the greatest review of all time. Folks, we found it. I hate the dogs so much. That's the most valid shit. Ding, ding, ding. We found a winner. That's got to be the most accurate one. If you hate the game because of how strong the dogs are, you're right. They're incredibly strong. They're supposed to be. And I can see someone be like, fuck this. I can see someone, they're playing, they get to the caves, they get to the bloody room, the 3 dogs drop from above there. Fuck this. I'm done. Fuck this game. Too hard. Dogs suck. That's fucking valid. Well, the game is already quite fun and has several systems that I greatly enjoy. The level of loss that death incurs is simply outside of what I find enjoyable. Losing quite actually every single item not kept in my stash is simply something I find more frustrating than engaging. A difficulty option selection where I could make it so that at the least I retain my gun would be nice, but unless such a thing is added, I don't really see myself putting any time into this. What's going on with the baby? Is everything okay? Why is he crying? Oh, he's a sleepy baby. We got us a sleepy baby on our hands. We're trying a 2-nap schedule. We've had him on a 3-nap schedule. He's almost 9 months old. He'll be 9 months old in 5 days. Hey, that's like if she would have had another kid in there immediately after. Would have had a little Irish twin. Irish twin is where they're born within a year of each other. I'm actually Irish twins with my older brother, but that's not important. What's important is people don't understand what a roguelite is. And they need to mention that it's a roguelite. They do need to mention. And we clearly need to have a conversation about difficulty. Because that sounds fun to talk about. Nope. I would love to say this. Wait, let's look for something that jumps out at us. I can play Stafffield at a higher frame rate than this game. I quit once it got into single digits and became unplayable. I look forward to performance updates such as body and object timeouts. Okay. Oh, this guy got it for free. Okay, so this is another content creator. Hello, fellow content creator. How you doing? Oh, shit. This one's got comments? Wait, if those were there, I didn't notice them before. I don't think they were. Okay, not played enough. First impression. The game loop is a little discouraging. If you die, all your gear and even weapon ranks are lost. Don't know yet what rank is. What this rank is? Oh, he's talking about ranking up your guns to be able to put more enchantments and oils, or any at all. So it's a high risk to use your items. Everything is too expensive. It's hard to return to base, and I didn't understand why my medallion is charged the way to return to base. I didn't understand. When my medallion... What? And when you afford... He played for 2 hours. Yeah, he just played the 2 hours, man. I don't understand. And when you afford to return to the base, I don't remember if you gain life, but it's basically just to drop your good items. It's also to visit the vendors and prepare for your next run. That's what the church hub is intended for, is to prepare for your next run. So I think the loop is to loot gear, and someday you risk it to reach some checkpoint or the end game. Yeah, a lot of video games, the gameplay loop in the initial run is to beat the game. That's how it works. Just imagine dying after hours of gameplay to loot a good gear, only to die and lose everything. It's a roguelite, man. It's basically uninstalling the game. Wait, what do you mean? This is discouraging. This game will punish you for playing it. This discourages you from trying new things. Hades, for example, will give you a little reward even after death. Well, the thing is like, that's the extraction shooter of it. If you're not successful in your mission, you don't get it. And that is a challenge. You just won't get whatever it was. You have to be able to survive. Rule number 1 is survive. That's why the amulet exists. So, yeah, I'm sorry it's challenging. I don't see this equivalent of uninstalling the game when you die. You just get better and stop dying. That's the thing. Eventually you get good enough to where you rarely die. And if you die, you have enough good stuff back at the church where you're just like, you laugh it off. The visuals are good. The gunplay is good. The controller button displays are weird. I didn't like the dialogues. The game doesn't teach you well while punishing you for trying new things. And the first dialogue telling the player is from a padre, a priest, you name it. I'm a Catholic and thought this dialogue was disrespectful. What the fuck? They're acting like it's the first game ever to feature any kind of religious conversation. Imagine if these people saw like Postal or something. They would actually call their mayor and like threaten Perfect Random forever doing anything against the Lord's will. Oh, that I'm not a religious person. I won't lie. I respect religious people. I am not religious, so I can't get into that headspace. But I also have had beliefs in my life where if someone didn't agree with me, it didn't bother me. I was a vegetarian for over a decade, and at no point was I like upset that I had to eat meat or watch someone eat meat or defend eating meat in a movie, game, video. Anything. It never was like, oh, fuck this entirely because they have that point of view or they poked fun at vegetarians. I laughed at that shit. All right? I lived a strict diet for moral reasons, of vegetarianism for moral reasons. It wasn't because I needed to be healthy. I morally didn't find it right to eat meat. I eat meat now, but at no point was I don't know. I think that's thin skin, to be honest. You should be able to poke a little fun at God. All right? It's fine, all right? It shouldn't shake your religion to the point where you're frustrated. If it's offensive, sure, but, you know, religion is a choice, in a sense. You're not born Christian. Oh, well, they might beg to differ. No, not even, because you have to, like, be baptized or whatever, and then you're Christian. So technically, you're not even born Christian. I don't know about the other religions, but I don't know. It's a whole thing. I have no disrespect towards religious people, and at no point was like, this is definitely the sacrilegious experience I'm looking for, man. Hell yeah. Fuck God. Probably going to give it more chances after some development, but for now, I'm done. This is a roguelite and not a roguelike. Pure rogues are faster, you don't grind, and the game makes you move forward to win or start a new run. It's not losing the gear. It's not the losing the gear part that pisses me off. It's the fact you can get a wild tile set with full health, juicy loot, great weapons, and it happens. I, as a Catholic, am offended that the protagonist is a priest. Yeah, that doesn't even make sense. The good guy is the priest, man. The good guy. The good guy. He's on your side. He doesn't even talk, so he can't even necessarily say anything bad about himself. This is what a roguelike is, though. Just want to say that the risk-reward is not a bad thing. Actually, it's essential for this game, but lose all of your hours of loot, and that's it. Farn, more 5 hours or whatever, that's not cool. Farn, more 5 hours? I think the biggest shock to me is the sacrilegious comments. I feel like there was a time where all gamers were sacrilegious, and now it seems like there's just more and more religious people being like, can we please get a game where we shuffle animals onto the Noah's Ark? Please, my God. And then we shoot non-believers. I don't know. This is fucking weird. $25 for an unfinished game where each stage is any given level looks exactly the same. I don't know. No, that's not true. That's not true at all. That's not, you didn't play enough. Or you got RNG'd on, kid. This game's page is misleading. This is not extraction shooter, action-adventure RPG. It's just a basic FPS roguelite with rough mechanics. Mechanics aren't rough. It's not basic, but they are right. It is a roguelite. It does need to say that somewhere, in my opinion. I want to give it a positive review because it's fun, but it's unacceptable that a game that looks like this drops from 140 to 35. Yeah. We're aware of that. We're aware of that. I want one more funny one. I want to laugh one more time. Whoa. This guy said, I might change to positive after at least one more year of development. One more year? He's like, I'll check up on it annually. And then maybe you could sway me then. I can't recommend this game as it is. The frame drops when looking towards corpses are insufferable. Wait for updates. You played for an hour. Your inventory is now full and you can't play anymore until it gets fixed. Stay tuned. What? Oh, is he talking about the storage issues? He might be talking about the storage issues. Or he doesn't realize that you can put your stuff in the chest. He might not realize you can put your stuff in the chest. That back in. I've seen cash grabs with less lag than this. It's a weird comparison. Having completed what content is currently available, I can't say I would recommend Sulfur. Thank you for being wordy with that so we know why you don't like it. I appreciate that. Yeah. I enjoy the gameplay so far. It's just if I have any other application or it's unoptimized. Yeah. Okay, we're definitely... I want to blow up every baby in the caves. Why? You can. Just do it. Reverse that thumbs down. You can do that. You've been able to do that anytime. In short, early access game, again. That's a very raw, though promising game. Too boring after a couple of hours. Very bad balanced mob spawn. A lot of works devs need to do. So far, I strongly advise against buying. I strongly advise you do not buy this game. This will be bad for your health. He's like actually pissed. He's like, I cannot believe they put this game out there. I can't believe it. Can you look at like most hours? Friends items funny, most helpful. Huh, I wish you could sort it by like who's got the most hours. 500. No, 100? Okay, so wait. We might be able to scroll through 100% kiting. So what if I did hours? No. 100% of all your items. 100%, 100%. Lots of 100%s, man. They're like, yeah, nothing ever changes. Always this goddamn 200 hours. Found it. My fucking gear got deleted because the devs are trash and money hungry. Fix your game and give more fucks. Box space, you hacks. Wow. 200 hours. Their gear got deleted. It was probably the inventory bug where something would overlap and then delete the things. They're not money hungry. I think that's weird. I think that's very strange. If they were money hungry, for one, I do wish they talked to the community more. They could definitely talk more. That should be something they should do. But if they were money hungry, we wouldn't have had 2 big patches since this launch. 2 big patches, in my opinion. The storage update, which fundamentally changed the game, and the performance update are big patches. That doesn't scream money hungry to me. Sweetie, pie, honey, bun. All right, that's not money hungry. 58 hours. He gave us a dot. Thank you. Thank you, thank you. He's actually talking about me, the homie dot. That's why I do that. Amazing gameplay. It's just that there are way too many bugs that can actually disturb gameplay, and the optimization kind of sucks. Random FPS drops. Yeah. Oh, the very last one. Okay, we made it to the end. Love the game concept. Really enjoyed the demo, but please focus on soundbox and player experimentation more. Make the storage box unlimited, and let the players stack the modifiers for the weapons. You got a fun gameplay loop. Don't destroy it by restricting the players' possibilities. Let me break your game. You literally do get to stack the modifiers, pal. You just didn't get far enough in. He had 6 hours of the time. He must not have been able to rank a gun up past rank 1, which is crazy. Maybe he was just throwing away guns left and right. Maybe an hour's enough time. Does it really feel fun? Wish there was an easier pinpoint on it, but there's a bunch of random platform mixed in with it that feels a little half-baked too. The guns seem like it could be fun, but it doesn't feel fleshed out currently. You know, I don't agree with him, but maybe he just doesn't like the gameplay in general. Slow, clumsy, incredibly frustrating. This guy needs to get good. Just kidding. I think we've read enough. I think we've got the gist of it. And I gotta say, you know, there was some things that are clearly personal issues. Them just not agreeing with the gameplay. And in defense of those negative reviews, they do not mention on the Steam page, and we can double check that this is in fact a roguelite, and that is blowing my tits. I wonder if we were to check this on Chrome rather than the Steam page, if we can Control F and find rogue somewhere. Rogue. where you at? I don't see it, man. It's like putting me somewhere, but I don't. It's not highlighting it. It shows it's here. Where? Rogue light. Okay, so no, that's weird. That's doing that. Okay, yeah, there is no roguelite. There's no mention of it anywhere. There should be. That's a very valid criticism. Maybe fans of roguelites aren't playing it because they don't realize that it is one. It's very much its own thing. Maybe that's why they didn't do it initially, but I think there should be mention. There's a mashup of roguelite and extraction shooter. It's a perfect way of describing it, just so that less people would be upset. Because we want people to enjoy Sulfur, because we know it's great. And false advertising it's not false advertising, it's just leaving out information on the game that isn't necessary to enjoy the game. But if you don't like those gameplay styles, yes, you can have a very negative feeling from the game because of that. That's a big one. I agree with all the optimization stuff. Very true. If the game is too challenging for you, I suggest next time you grab another orange slice and rub some dirt in it. Get good, pussy. Nah, I'm just kidding. But like, that sucks. I wish you could enjoy the game even though it's difficult, and eventually you can make a gun to make it not difficult, and you can just steamroll it. And that's how every roguelite and every roguelike works, is you eventually become so super powered that the stuff that was hard is no longer a challenge at all, and it's your turn for revenge. That's how it's supposed to be, and that's how it works best. There's a couple things, other things. I guess the sacrilegious stuff, I guess that's valid. I can't put my feet in the shoes of a man who is offended by anything that mentions religious in the slightest, even if it's just the fact that there's a priest or a father in the game is enough to piss you off. That's valid. I mean, him being the main character, the priest, makes a lot of sense. You're at a church hub. It is the afterlife. Him existing is not in itself sacrilegious. There might be some dialogue somewhere that is, but I didn't see any personally, that it was like clearly a shot at religious people. I don't think that was ever the intent. But I guess if your skin is thin enough for that to bother you, I'm sorry if that sounds insulting, but some people are more sensitive than other people, especially with certain topics. I'm not that sensitive kind of person. You can eat me in this fucking game, by the way. That pissed me off right away. I think there was a couple other ones where I was like, oh shit, that's actually valid, but I can't remember what they were. They must have not been as important as the roguelite information missing. Overall, some people did have a level head, but most of these were really funny. Some of them were hard to read, got a few strokes here and there. I want to know what you think. Was there anything that jumped out at you that maybe I missed and that you thought was like, actually, that's a valid point? And if you want to play the contrarian to anything that I said, please feel free to go ahead and do so. I can't guarantee I won't laugh. I'm just kidding. I might, though. I can't control myself. Just if I don't know. If you want to, feel free. Play a little devil's advocate and, the money thing. The money thing. $25 is a lot of money for a first-time release from an indie studio in early access. That's valid as fuck. That's a lot of money. I can understand, but you did purchase it going in knowing it was a first-time release of an indie studio for $25 in early access. You had all that information in front of you. To be shocked at the level of content you got, which I think it is an overwhelming amount of content. I honestly was overwhelmed for at least 150 hours, shocked every time I turn the corner and find new loot, but that's personally just me. It could be a me thing. I've always been shocked about the amount of content they were able to fit in this, and the more that they're promising. Over time, these negative reviews will either be changed or they'll be so much more positive that it'll be better. I can't believe how much I love Sulfur and how much I can praise it. I said I'm not a shill, and I may unintentionally be a shill for this game, and I can't help it, okay? I was born and built to love it, and they made it for me. They told me in DMs, we made this for you, Dottie. It's me, your dad. I finally wanted to talk to you. I'm Swedish, and mac and cheese is not lactose intolerant. Did I ever tell you guys that? One of the videos, I think it was the Thanksgiving video, I believe, I can't say for sure, what the lead dev, or I don't know if he's a lead, but the CEO, or Anton or whatever, he commented on that. I think it was him. I can't remember exactly who it was, and they mentioned that in Sweden, mac and cheese is not actually lactose intolerant. So I have heard from the devs, it was just some goofy. So I thought it was fun. I mean, it's cool that they have a sense of humor about this stuff. And I'm sure they have a sense of humor about this stuff, and that's ultimately what it is. At no point was I going to be like, oh my god, they're right. You know, I know how good the game is. And I know if you have an enjoyment of any kind of roguelite or roguelike experience, you'll probably get a kick out of something in this game and at least appreciate it for some of its values. And you know, the system on Steam is not a numerical system or anything or percentage system. It's either up or down, that's it. And you put an upvote on this video. I saw you do that. I greatly appreciate that. If you want to switch it to a downvote after you watched me read all this stuff, whether you just didn't like the idea, that's fine. I don't know why I'm still talking. So maybe you can downvote for that, because you're like, why does he just stop? Just stop at any time. Anytime you want. You have the power to do so, so just do it, because you know you should stop. Just stop.